With each passing day, we're learning more and more about what the 2025-2026 Boston Celtics are going to look like. And on today's show, we have a major Payton Pritchard update on what his role could be for this upcoming campaign. We'll get into that in just a moment. But if you guys want to continue the conversation around Boston Celtics basketball, why don't you hit me up on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. My handle, @Smitty@CS. And I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an incentive on today's show. The next 5 people that give me a follow over on Twitter, you'll get a shout-out, personalized shout-out on the next show that we do here at Celtics Today. So give me a follow if you want to keep the hoops talk rolling over on X. Let's get right into this update from NBA Insider Grant Afseth on Payton Pritchard. And he says that the Boston Celtics appear poised to elevate Payton Pritchard into the starting lineup while using Anfernee Simons as a high-scoring option off of the bench for the 2025-26 season if he remains on the roster, according to sources. The Celtics believe Pritchard has earned the starting job through years of steady development. His familiarity with the system and readiness to handle expanded responsibilities have made him the preferred option to open games at point guard. And look, I'm just going to clap it up for Payton Pritchard, man. Like, this is a success story. Somebody who was taken at the end of the first round. Those guys aren't always guaranteed true rotation spots in this league, and Pritchard put his head down, grinded, and now he gets the job of starting point guard for the Boston Celtics. He has earned the right. This isn't something that you go out there and deserve. Payton Pritchard is an undersized guard. He's a player who has best skill set probably is scoring the basketball, and that doesn't always result in you getting rewarded in your NBA career, especially at this point in time. Teams prioritize size, length, two-way ability, but Payton Pritchard is a player that, yeah, he might not be the best overall defender, skill-wise, tangible-wise, but he's going to give you 110% effort every single time he steps on the basketball court, and he's only gotten better every single season that he's been in the NBA. Yeah, he's had some rotation issues and jostling around in Joe Mazzulla's rotation since he's become the head coach. But over the past 2 seasons, he has been an integral part of what Boston has done. He's been incredibly available as well. 80-plus games played in each of the past 2 seasons, and we know how integral he was in the Celtics championship run. Now, this past season, he goes out there and wins a Sixth Man of the Year while shooting the 3-ball at a 41% clip, completely elevating his game to be one of the better scorers at the guard position in this league. And then if you look at what he's going to do, when the lights get brightest for Payton Pritchard, when he sees the biggest opportunities in his NBA career, he absolutely steps up to the plate, exceeds all expectations, to be honest with you. These are his last 10 starts, dating back to the beginning of 2023, when the calendar flipped to 2023. And in that season, by the way, Payton Pritchard had already seen like so many DNPs and uncertainty in the rotation and just inconsistencies with his playing time. He still went out there and had a 30-point game during that season. And in the 8 starts since that campaign, in the 2 years, he's been a real big rotation piece for Boston. He's averaging like 23 points a game, 6 rebounds, 8.5 assists. Like, we all know how lethal Payton Pritchard during the last week of the NBA season is when teams start resting their stars. He also has done this at a crazy high efficiency, 52% from the field, 42% from three-point range on 9 attempts as a starter. I think Payton Pritchard has shown us all that he deserves this spot just based on the production that he's given us when that opportunity has arisen. And he's always a guy who is in the right spots at the right times. Like I said, he's an undersized guard. He's not always going to be the best overall defender, or he's going to be a player that teams hunt pretty frequently from on that end of the floor. But how often do we see Payton Pritchard just be on the low block, crashing the offensive glass? And oh, look at that. The rebound just drops right in front of him. Easy 2 points back up on the board. Like, he just always seems to be in the right spots, always making the right extra pass, never going to try to be something that he's not. Like, he's very self-aware, and he's kind of used that to his strength to this point in his career, and I'm very, very excited to see him get even bigger of an opportunity in a Celtics gap year. He has also been somebody who has been vehement in the fact that this Celtics season is not going to be a gap year. They're still trying to make the playoffs. They're still trying to go win a championship because that has been the standard that has been set in Boston at this point, and Payton Pritchard has been a big, big reason why that standard has been the case over the last couple of seasons. So clap it up for him like I did. Show some love to Payton Pritchard down in the comment section. I didn't want to flood the comment section with PP, so get that boy's number down below. Type 11 for me if you love Payton Pritchard and you're excited for him to be the starting point guard of the future for the Boston Celtics, because he is under contract for a couple more seasons. Now, remember, though, Payton Pritchard requested a trade back in 2023. Like, we could almost not be in a spot where this is the reality now. Payton Pritchard could be without a Sixth Man of the Year award in his belt and now projected starting job in his future. Like, he was almost not a member of the Boston Celtics anymore because of what I had mentioned previously, the inconsistencies in his spot in the rotation, his minutes, playing even some nights. For a large portion of the 2022-2023 season, Payton Pritchard was getting DNPs, and we know now that he's a player that does not deserve those types of marks. Pritchard said this back in March about that situation a couple of seasons ago, and he said, at the time, asking for a trade wasn't really that hard because I just didn't see a future. I've always said this. It was nothing to do with the city or the organization. I think the organization is top-notch. I think Boston is the best sports city in the world. The best fans and the games are always sold out. As a player, you want to play in a situation like that. But at the end of the day, I'd rather be playing. And I wasn't playing. I was watching a lot of games. But now we were really good, and I was going to be a good teammate regardless of the situation. But I'm a competitor, and I thought I belonged on the court to play and play with the best. And so I went to Brad and just asked if there was an opportunity out there where they could get value back, and it didn't end up working. And thank God that it didn't. And look, Boston had a weird guard rotation back then. They still employed Marcus Smart. They still employed Malcolm Brogdon, who was on his way to winning Sixth Man of the Year for Boston. Plus, obviously, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, those two guys carry a lot of the ball handling duties as well. And you even had Derek White there too. So, there was not a lot of room for Payton Pritchard to really find out or a carved out role in that rotation. And that's unfortunate because he is a really, really good player. But even back then, in the first couple seasons of his NBA career, he had some turnover issues. He was still a little spotty on the basketball court. You couldn't always rely on him for long stretches. Now that's just not the case anymore. He is a reliable enough player to where I'm confident in him being the starting guard for the foreseeable future. But Brad Stevens did say this about that whole situation way back when. He said that it was pretty clear that in the summer of 2023 that we should either probably help him find a place to play or make sure that we had space for him to play because he's a really good player and he's the kind of guy that you want in your building. He's an all-time worker. And Brad also concluded his statement with this. Trade-wise, there wasn't, to be honest with you, there was nothing even close. Brad Stevens knows that he values Payton Pritchard, and this was also before Payton Pritchard had signed a big-time contract extension, or I guess I should say long-term contract extension, because the money, the dollar signs, they were not too big time. We know Payton Pritchard is on one of the best values. I would argue it is the best value contract in the entire NBA. Name me a Sixth Man of the Year candidate that's making $7 million a season over the next few. You can't. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent in 2028, so you still got three more seasons of Payton Pritchard playing on maybe the greatest deal that's ever been signed. Brad Stevens continues to be a wizard, but this is a PP video. Let's get back to him. He's still a really, really good player here, and there's a reason that we're looking at this contract as one of the best values in the NBA because he's a really, really good damn basketball player. Now, talking about him off the court and how he kind of trickles down to the rest of this Boston Celtics roster as well, I was reading a bunch of the comments from that article when they were talking about Payton Pritchard's trade requests and all that stuff. Jaylen Brown was he's an integral part of this team. This team is not what it is without Payton Pritchard. Tatum had similar comments. I believe it was Al Horford had a bunch of comments. He respects the hell out of Payton Pritchard's drive and tenacity and just want to get better. His teammates love that he's a team-first guy, and they love that he's just a hard worker. And that's just kind of the identity of the Boston Celtics. I want Payton Pritchard to be a part of that for a long, long time. But what does this mean for the rest of Boston's roster? We'll talk about that in just a moment. But make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Join the family here at Celtics Today. We're 53,000 diehard Celtics fans strong. And when we hear Celtics news, we make videos for you guys here on the channel. So lock us in, hit the subscribe button, and turn your notifications on as well so you never miss a moment here at Celtics Today. We're going to talk about what this means for Anfernee Simons, because in that Grant Afseth quote, it was that Payton Pritchard is getting elevated into the starting lineup for Simons to be a high-scoring option off of the bench. We'll talk about what that means in just a moment. What's going on in Boston? But first, I got to tell you guys about this sweet, sweet deal. Look, Payton Pritchard's going to be on the court for the Celtics. Anfernee Simons probably going to be on the court for the Celtics. Jason Tatum's not going to be on the court for the Celtics this upcoming season, but you can get this jersey on sale for the low at this link right here, chatsports.com/Tatum sale. This is the regular Celtics Association jersey. This is, I don't know why it's even on as crazy of a sale as it is, but you got to take advantage of the deal. All the sizes are still available. Chatsports.com/Tatum sale. That's chatsports.com/Tatum sale one more time. And that link is in the comment section and description of today's video as well. So just go click it, and we get a little bit of the proceeds when you guys purchase a jersey as well. So go get yourself a awesome Jason Tatum jersey and support the show today. Alrighty, so this is what the official projected 25-26 rotation looks like at this point. And I should have went with my gut because I showed you guys this graphic a couple of weeks ago, and since then I have had Anfernee Simons in the starting lineup. I'm soft. I should have went with my gut and just guessed that Pritchard was going to end up getting that starting point guard position. But you have Pritchard, White in that backcourt, Jaylen Brown, and then the front court still has a lot of questions. I got a star next to Chris Boucher's name. I'm not sure if Joe Mazzulla is going to want to run double bigs to start the season. Maybe Sam Hauser somehow gets in that 4 spot, or you play Jaylen Brown as a small ball 4, something along those lines. Maybe Xavier Tillman somehow surprises us a lot in camp, or Josh Minot stands out as well. But that power forward spot is still pretty wide open. It's presumed that Neemias Queta will be the starting center as well, due to all of the, familiarity that he has relative to the other centers that Boston has on its roster in Luka Garza and Amari Williams, who they're presumably going to sign to a 2-way deal here in the next couple of days. Now, is a trade potentially coming, though, with the Boston Celtics and Anfernee Simons? That's what we're talking about in this last portion of today's show. With Payton Pritchard being named the starter, there still has not been an introductory press conference for Anfernee Simons. I'm still holding true to that. Like, it is still weird to me that we've yet to introduce Anfernee Simons with a jersey held up and a number to the media and have him answer questions about his forthcoming season with the Boston Celtics. That is yet to happen yet, and that just means to me that a trade is still possible before the start of the season. Here's more from Afseth in that original quote. He said, while his scoring ability is proven, sources told FastBreakJournal.com that Boston entered the offseason focused on shedding salary and has struggled to find a trade partner for Simons' contract since acquiring him. Regardless, he remains a trade candidate to monitor as he plays out his contract. A $27.1 million deal for 1 year, expiring contract Anfernee Simons is on, and there's a reason that the Celtics are trying to trade him, because he is the only player that makes sense to trade that can help the Celtics get underneath the luxury tax line. They have to do that for 2 seasons in order to get rid of their luxury tax repeater penalties for the next 3. So trading Anfernee Simons, no matter really how well he plays, is probably in the cards for the Boston Celtics here, as they have yet to find a market for him. They're going to probably have to get his stock up during the season. Like, they're probably going to have to play him a good number of minutes here for the first couple of months, and then when the trade deadline rolls around, like, they're going to have to see what's out there market-wise. And they might end up getting pennies on the dollar, but that's what's going to have to happen. The Celtics are going to up his stock this season in some regard. Like, there's a lot of room for him to go out there and score big buckets. Like, he's the first guard off of the bench. Like, he's going to probably be in that Payton Pritchard role from last year. And I guess just raw talent-wise, Anfernee Simons probably is better than Payton Pritchard in those areas. So I think he's going to see something around the 17 to 20 points per game mark. And hopefully when February rolls around, you'll have a couple of suitors lined up that could use a guy like Anfernee Simons here to try to make a championship push. So with that being said, I want to ask you guys, what would you do with Anfernee Simons if he plays well this upcoming season? Because it looks like they're going to start the year with him on the roster. If you would keep him, maybe sign him to extension, type K down in the comment section. If it's T, type a T down below if you want to trade Anfernee Simons and get closer and closer to that luxury tax line, which I think is the plan for Brad Stevens and company. We can continue the conversation about it if you guys want to keep talking Celtics hoops over on my Twitter. Remember, the next 5 followers that I get a shout-out on the next show. I'll link my Twitter in the description as well, but it's @SmittySCS. We'll see you guys all in the next one, and as always, let's go C's.